All right. Good morning. Good morning. It is, what is it? It's March 9th. It's 6:31. My name is Scott Redler. I am the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Welcome to today's 6:30 Club. I'm also the founder of Red Dog Mindset. Feeling good. Woke up nice and early. Got my nice little 25-20 sweat out and thinking about levels, thinking about what I could do this week, how we're going to make some money. At this point coming in, I think most of my community is very tactical. For those of you who have been in my community for maybe 2 decades, you all know that I am, a big advocate on moving averages. Moving averages tell me the strength of a market. They tell me what kind of risk tolerance I should have on. And if you look here at the chart of the SPYs, what did we do last week? We broke below the 8 and 21 day, came back to it, and got rejected and closed in no man's land. In no man's land, is that special? No. In no man's land, should you have active risk on swing trades galore? No. So most of us are very tactical, risk down, and I'll get to test some levels because when you break the 8 and 21 day, guess what you could do? You could test 5% off highs. You could test a 200 day, and you're not underwater. You could test levels and make money as an active trader. When we get into a better time, when we're trending above the 8 and 21 day and things are making higher highs and higher lows, we'll put a lot of risk on. And that's just if you trade actively for a living. So anyway, hopefully you're feeling good. Get your mind right. Think clearly. If you have positions left over, forgive yourself and figure out how to do it better next time and figure out what you want to do. How do you want to salvage it today? Do you want to add versatile level? Does your name go green in a sea of red and show relative strength? All the things I've been doing over the years when volatility hits. Listen, geopolitical tensions are tough. Usually they go and they come and they go, and and the markets are fine. You have a bunch of other things, a bunch of other narratives. What's AI disrupting? Are we in jobs apocalypse? Is there a credit, private credit crisis because companies can't go public? So there's a lot of things going on. So when it's going on like that, you try and be careful, and that's what we're trying to be here. So anyway, SPYs right now are well off the morning or the overnight lows. Last I looked when I got home from seeing Wim Hof. I went to see Wim Hof with Chase yesterday. You guys know who Wim Hof is. He's the ice man. You guys think I'm like the ice barrel trader because I've been in the ice barrel for 4 years, but he came to town, so it was really cool to see Wim Hof. He's 66 years old, listening to his story, listening to his life and his message. I'm not going to get into that. That'll be another time. But for now, the SPYs are down 7. We're below 669.60. Remember last week or last time, we came in, I think, where was it? Monday, where we opened below 679 and reclaimed it. And then remember, we were down last Tuesday below 675-ish and reclaimed it and had a little bit of a bounce. So now we're opening below 669. I would love us to stay below. I would like us to really shake things up, change the trade. But what I want and what the market wants to do are two different things usually. So 661-ish, we're not quite there. And then here's the 200-day. We're not even at the 200-day. People are like, Red Dog, how many tears of the blood in the street have you put to work? I'm like, what do you mean how many tears of the blood in the street? We're down 3.5%. That's not blood in the street. That's not even a 5% correction. If you look here at the weekly chart, I posted this on Friday with language showing you levels and showing you what could be interesting with the text saying we're fluid, oil price is higher, be tactical, be short, be whatever it is, but no things are acting super special. And then if you look here, if you mark down some levels, so write this down. Write down what is 5% off highs. That's 662-ish. SPYs right now are not even are 665-ish. So right here in no man's land. And then if you go down towards the low from November, that's 650. Okay, the low here. So by the time this comes up to here, that's about 7% off highs. I would love to put my blood in the street account, which is 4 tiers, which is in all cash, a fixed rider of 4.2%. I'd love to start putting it in somewhere within here, below 662, right around here, you know that I have to put it to work on the lows of the day. I get the last print. A lot of mutual funds, like at Bright House, they do it at the end of the day. So we'll see how that goes. But for now, we'll see. Again, you know, you go back, let's go to the Qs. The Qs, by the way, the Qs aren't even there. The Qs aren't even, you know, at last week's low. So the Qs that were lagging started to show relative strength because, you know, their balance sheets are great, their buybacks, their dividends, whatever. This is 591. This is 593. This is 8% off highs. This is kind of like what I just showed you, you know, 650 something is. And the Qs right now are, you know, right here. The Qs are down only 6, not a whole lot. You know, the Qs are at 593.45. So the Qs aren't even at last week's low. So everyone's like, Red Dog, we're crashing. I'm like, why don't you go to sleep and we'll figure out where we are in the morning. If you're going to trade the futures all night, you know, some people got really good prints last night. Kind of like I feel like when I used to trade Bitcoin, you know, overnight, I'd put good till cancel orders and I'd wake up and I'd be up $10,000+ because something hit my limit order and I got filled and it worked out really well. So with that being said, you know, if you had your futures in at 5% off highs and we were down 140 handles last night and you wake up, we're only down 70, you know what, you got filled on a level that you knew. But anyway, so this is 591, okay, which we're not even at. So the SPYs are below 669. The SPYs are above 591. So that's saying tech is showing some relative strength. So with that being said, okay, someone said, what about IWM? IWM lost special status, same thing. IWM, most of my guys got all out when we broke the 21 day. You know, if you were in it because you thought this was going to be an upper, you know, pennant, well, it broke. So hopefully you got out of 259. You followed your rules. Maybe you got short, and then we went as low as 249. So now, for now, you know, we'll see what's next here. This is 246. Where's the 200 day right now? The 200 days is higher. So, you know, we'll see. As I said, if you sell when you break the 21 day, you could test it when it gets to the 200 day. Instead of sitting underwater and losing money, you actively manage your portfolio and your positions as an active trade. If it's long term in investing, that's different. But if you trade for a living like we do, and you want to be right on in March, so you can get paid for March and paid for February or paid for the first quarter, you got to know your process. Okay, but anyway, so this is 249. This little level of interest is 246, and now the 200 day has moved up to 242. So there could be a really good opportunity here today at 242, right? Why not? 242 is right here. So it's below 249. You're out of this. I don't know one person in my community that's long the IWM, especially not me. And so today it could be an opportunity. So we'll see. So here's the IWM down 5. That's nice. That is nice. Someone's like, Red Dog, what do you mean it's nice? That's not nice. Yes, it is. When you have technical damage and you roll over, you want downside follow through that follows the rules. There was no reason whatsoever to be long any IWM after this break. We weren't even that oversold. The oscillator was minus 39. Oversold's minus 40. Severely oversold is like minus 70. So maybe we'll get close to that this morning where we get some nice buys versus points of reference after market discovery, which we'll get in the morning, which is today and this week, while we're tactical. But anyway, so 246 is a spot, 242 is a spot, and right now it's trading, you know, 246ish. So it'll be interesting. So here's, you know, you want to have all three sectors up. You know, obviously oil is a big component on why we're down. It's up 12%. It was up more than this. It was. So anyway, so you should have oil up. This is the USO. Somebody was saying, hey, Red Dog, is this parabolic? I'm like, it's close. This morning, you're going to have that parabolic look. So this morning, it might be easier to fade a little oil. Obviously, it's well off the highs. What you probably want to do is go out maybe a month and start accumulating a little bit of puts maybe into this ramp. So in a month from now, when oil is back a lot lower, which it probably will be, you'll be able to, you know, hold through. So we'll see. I showed you guys the USO weekly chart, you know, so you had some what's it called? I said it looks like a big long, right? You had a weekly candle that just took out this entire range. Some people actually went long oil. Yes, you're allowed to go long oil too. Anyway, 128-ish is right here. This was 106. So oil right now is like 122-ish. So if you were to try and sell some premium or something like that, or buy some puts, you know that maybe sell the 130s for this week. It was at 125. You probably get a nice premium if you want to. If you're going to short the USO, you could also sell premium higher and collect that way, so you're not as perfect. It all depends on how you want to do it. All right. So anyway, so you want to make sure you know your levels in the SPYs, which are not down that much, and the Qs, which aren't even below last week's lows. So do the SPYs reclaim 669 and do the Qs hold 591? Those are some good things to think about. Stocks. Let's talk software. Software has been the place where bids have come in, right? Bids have come in ever since the red dog reversal low here, right? Right there. Remember this red dog reversal low? We were all buying at 76.47, 3-day move and held 80, buy versus 80. Well, you know what? That was a nice move. So now what? Will money come back to software? Will this hold higher? So here are your two levels in the IGV. Here's where all the moving averages are now. It wouldn't be so bad to see a move down towards 84.90 to see whether or not that's buyable. Last week, every day, software was buyable. You know why? Because they finally beat the hell out of people enough where everyone got so loud that you can't be in software, then the market says you could be in it. But we'll see what happens today. We don't want to jump in there, too quick. Where's the IGV right now? The IGV is only down $1.25. Wow. So the IGV isn't even below, is right around Friday's low. That's pretty impressive. What's Microsoft doing? You think of IGV, you got to think of software. What's the best What's the software? Microsoft 404. Let's see where that is on the chart. So not so bad, right? You had a red dog reversal in Microsoft also right here at 383.10. Then you could have bought versus 390 a few times, and now look at that, a little topping tail. Isn't that a red dog reversal sell? I'm just saying, look at that. The little topping tail. What did it do on Friday? Went above 411, came back below it. That's a red dog reversal sell. So if you had a red dog reversal buy, there's your red dog reversal sell. You don't see that in the other candles. So there's always something to see. Even though they say, hey, there's nothing to see here. There's always something to see. So anyway, what's this? Where's the 80? This is, let's see, what is that? What's that level here? So this level here where the 8-day is right around 404. So does Microsoft hold 404? That's somewhere where you want to look. If Microsoft holds 404, hey, maybe software will be the place to go today, right? 404. That's a good spot. Where is it now? 404-ish. It was at 402-ish. If you're thinking Microsoft, you're thinking software. You have to think Oracle. You have to think CRM. You have to think WDay. You have to think NOW. Made good money in CRM last week. I got out of it. So who knows? Maybe I'll look here again. This looks pretty good. What's this low here from Friday? This low here is 197. So maybe you could try versus 197. 197 wouldn't be so bad, would it? So we'll see. Does it go below that? So that's Microsoft. Let's take a look at CRM. What's it doing this morning? It's only down 2. So software is really not that for sale, even though the media wants you to think software is for sale. It was for sale a month ago. By the way, look at this. This is where is the green drink? Green drink. I'll show you a picture of it. Somebody asked me what am I doing? I'm doing a 3-day juice cleanse this week. But anyway, that'll be fun. So CRM. So here's your IGV. Here's your Microsoft. Here's your CRM. ServiceNow is pretty strong also. So you want to, maybe if you're going to have software up, you want to have ServiceNow up. It's only down $1.60. Look at that. It's not getting crushed. It's not crashing. So software, pre-market looks pretty good. I don't know. Right now, it's just let off lows. It was just capitulated down. Like, CRM's been in a downtrend for a long time already. Like, go to the weekly chart, look at CRM. So all lead off the lows, all it is getting a broken bounce, to be honest. But tactically, if you got out of CRM when it did a false top up here, which was a while ago, right? When it did a false breakout and you got out around 318, you're allowed to try it down here for maybe a broken bounce back to here. I don't think it's going to be making new highs and leading anytime soon. It's just a trade. And we'll see if that trade continues. So that's CRM down here. Okay. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. The trade continues to keep training, keep changing. Sorry. So anyway, that's that. So let's go, but yeah, let's go to the semis. Okay. Marvell. Marvell came out with good numbers, okay, last week. Marvell had a nice potent move up, right? So this is Marvell's candle post numbers. So what you could do, like we did with Avago last week, is say, hey, you could be a buyer versus 83.40, right? 83.40 is your gap pivot. I've done a lot of lessons on gap pivots post earnings. So if this is going to be any good and make it easy for you to sit in and be in, it's going to hold 83.40. What does it have room to? 103. So with that being said, Marvell, let's switch gears from software to some semis. MRVL is what? It's only down 240. You should look here. Look here. Avago, that had good numbers too and responded pretty well. And then got hit a little bit at the end of the day. It's down 5. This has got to hold 323. NVIDIA is obviously the leader that hasn't really led. And then, you can go SMHs. So if you want to have semis up to see does money come to the semis today, not software, you can have it up. These are my level 2s. So Marvell is at 87. That's 87. This is 83.40. Marvell is worth a look this morning in a sea of red. Does it go green? Does it show relative strength? If so, maybe the semis will be a place to go. So yes, you were right. That's really good. Good idea. Marvell had good numbers out of the way. What was the high? 93-ish. So we all like to buy red to green trades. I might be buying this morning for a red to green trade because it had power and it has a reason. AVGO did that on Friday and then kind of came in and did a little bit of a red dog reversal sell into the end. So I would say if this is any good, okay, hopefully it holds 323. Very sloppy. Vago's very sloppy. I don't love the way this thing trades, but anyway, it pushed through 336, hit 343, came back, so maybe right around 323-ish. It's a buy. So watch Marvell. Marvell goes green, maybe money comes back to Vago. And then NVIDIA is just horrible. But I guess as long as it's above this 171 to 174, it's okay. What was the low? The low from Friday was 176.82. All this news about the chips and China and what it's allowed to do. But anyway, this is 176. This is 174. This is 171. So if you're going to play the semis, you also have to watch what NVIDIA is doing. So you could watch software. You could watch semis. You could watch the indices. There's a lot of things you could do there. SanDisk broke. SanDisk, I told you guys already, like most of my guys all got out of SanDisk at 607. That's when they got out and got short. You could have played it a bunch of ways. You could have traded the break below and then the retest, and now it looks like it's on the way to the 50-day. Where is it this morning? SanDisk is, look at that. It's actually up in a sea of red. So it's not giving you any downside, but it's broken also. It's not really doing a whole hell of a lot of anything. It would have been better if it was down near 502 to buy. Thoughts on Palantir, Hunter? That's a good idea. Palantir has been strong. This is a good time for Palantir, right? Don't they do a lot of business with the government? They do a lot of defense. They do a lot of analytics. So I would say I'm going to probably look at that also. So this is, you want to move this up a little bit just to see if it still holds. This low is 149. I like it. I'm going to look at it this morning. Let's take a look. What's it doing now? Because right now it's 6:50. I almost have to be done. I only am allowed to do 20 minutes for the 6:30 club. There's the SPYs. There's the Qs. And now where's Palantir? Before it was down $2. It's only down 260. I like that. So we'll see. Does Palantir give you a level to trade against? So this morning we're going to get some price discovery. There's going to be a lot of headlines. What headlines could make the market bounce? Is European Union going to do something to help with oil prices? If they're going to do something to help with oil prices, you will see the USO come in. Right now, the USO is at 123.50. Would I be buying the USO today, this morning? No. Do I think it's an easy short? I don't know if it's an easy short, but it's probably a cost average short if you can handle it over the next few weeks. If you can't handle it, you can't handle it. The 200 EMA and the 50 rejection palantir. All right, well, it's been acting better starting last week. Again, so it's something potentially to do. Also, I'll take a quick look at ASTS. It's also acting somewhat well, put a low in the 89.47. Look at that this morning. Perhaps in the morning, it feels like there's a bunch of buyers. Maybe it goes red to green. So I still think that, this potentially could be a buy in this area. 129 is not probably going to be the all-time high there. Rocket Labs is fair, not great, but fair, holding in this area. So if you want to switch gears real quickly, let's go RKLB, only down 90 cents. ASTS is only down 47 cents, while the SPYs are down 7.30 and the Qs are down 7. So there's a lot to be prepared. How are you going to be prepared? With preparation, right? If you're going to be prepared, how do you prepare? Preparation, don't they go together? Got to get up early. I've been up since 4:45, drank my water, I got my green drink. I was in the sauna thinking about what I want to do, where I want to do it. Thank goodness I've risked down because I follow my 21-day rule. I follow my process. That's what makes me happy. If I break my rules, I get pissed off at myself because I didn't do what I'm supposed to do. But anyway, so what is it that you're supposed to do? You're supposed to have your rules also. If you trade and invest long-term and put monthly flows in every single month, guess what? This is going to help your average cost. Continue to do it, especially if you could afford it. If you have a blood in the street account like I do, where you start putting 4 tiers to work after 5% off highs, well, we're not quite 5% yet. 5%-ish is 661. And that's not even the 200-day. Blood in the street is usually well below the 200-day, not getting to the 200-day. So don't be in a rush. Don't do things you don't need to do because you have ants in your pants. But anyway, Dell, yes. Someone said, what about Dell? Dell definitely still hanging around. Look at that. So Dell is something you could probably look at this morning also. It's kind of like an MRVL. MRVL is only down 250. What's Dell doing? Dell's down 248, 143, still above 140, 136. So yes, relative strength in Dell. Dell is something to look at. Marvell is something to look at. These are the rules. You want to find something that had a catalyst that acted well, that's down in a sea of red, that might bring back buyers. Or a broken group like the software group that has had buyers but didn't have them a month ago. Again, the only way you can execute on any of this. And also narrow it down. I said a lot. Like I've been doing this, since 1998. I have 1,000 different stocks in my head, watching them, executing on them, doing my thing, preparing them for the alpha team. The alpha team is right here. I'll have 500 probably professional traders trading with me all day long, trying to make a living because that's what they do. Okay, preparation. A lot of them also part of, the 25-20. Listen, if you like the 630 Club and I provide you value, what you should do is subscribe to Red Dog Mindset above, because at some point you're going to lose access to the 630 Club. Alpha team will never lose access. Either will Redler Premium. But if you, just tune in into the 630 Club and you're not a member of all those things, you should be a member of Red Dog Mindset. Help you get the mind right so you can execute on the X's and O's. And the X's and O's are the ones that we're going over here in the 630 Club. But Stick 54, listen, cooler minds will prevail. They always do. So make sure you're not on tilt. Make sure you're not listening to bozos on TV who play traders on TV. Make sure you have your levels. You watch your leaders. You look at the indicators, see what oil is doing, see what crypto is doing. You have your levels in the SPYs. You have, do we stay below 669 to see 661.50, or do we reclaim this to take some pressure off? Do the Qs hold the low of last week, or does it play downside catch up with new sellers? That would be below 591, 593, and then here's your 200-day. Obviously, each sector has different leaders. Software has different leaders in the semis. Semis have different leaders than space. Know what you're doing and why you're doing it. Okay, and take a deep breath. Breath is your fuel for life. So it also helps bring down, the speed of your brain, so this way you can think and see things a little clearly. All right, guys, I got to jump. Good luck today. I'm going to go head out with the alpha team.